because I think we were all expecting there to be a delayed start, weren't we? But miraculously, we did start on time. Unfortunately, having reached that score of 131 for 6, England had their progress stopped by rain, and it's hammering it down by the looks of things. I mean, I'm hopeful that we might get the game back on soon. It's going to blow through, we think. Nestlers has changed his background to be that of the old Trafford.
We were saying on commentary earlier that he could have been dismissed in single figures, regulation slip catch. I guess the thing about that is, if you get given a life, make the most of it, and he made pretty good use of it, and looked pretty good. His timing seemed to get better the longer he was at the wicket. It was pretty sticky to start with. But yeah, something for him to build on anyway.
Yeah, apart from Bantam, there's nothing else to talk about, really, is there?
Well, I think that's pretty well summed up, though, John, because we were all saying at the start of his innings how sort of scratchy he looked and how short a timing he looked, and he did get that life, as you mentioned, and then he just seemed to kick into gear somehow. And the thing is, when he just takes that even one little stride, I say a little stride, he's a tall man. He's built very much like Zach Crawley, I was thinking, actually. Imagine the two of them in the same side. Not beyond the realms of possibility, by the way, that Crawley plays white ball cricket as well for England. But anyway, yeah, he takes that stride and just hits through the line of the ball, and he's very strong over that sort of area between long on and mid wicket, isn't he?
Well, there was that lovely six, wasn't there, where he used his feet really well and he got right to the pitch of it and hit through it. And when you've got your feet and the bat flow going through well, you don't have to slog it. It was just a proper shot when he reached the ball. He didn't overhit it, and it looked really glorious.
I think that's a good point. Where and contrast that with Milan's innings. He got 20, but it wasn't pretty, and quite a lot of the time it felt like he was trying to overhit. His head was in the air, and he connected with a few, but it didn't. It was never going to be there for a long time playing like that. And Banton, that six that you mentioned, he hit two on back to back, didn't he? He hit one where he hadn't quite got to the pitch, but his sort of raw strength allowed him to crack it over long on. And then
one really ugly one. That he really and then
just muscled it, and then the next ball he properly got to the pitch and timed it, hit through the line, and it was glorious, that one. And that is. I do think he's a specialist. I mean, Bear was mentioning in the course of that innings that every batsman in T20's got a shovel now, as he puts it. Everyone can clear the boundary. But I do think that there are some special players in the game, and I think he's one of them. He's got a special talent, I think, Banton.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is one to watch for. I mean, I think the disappointing thing about Milan was that he just played that really dreamy sort of off drive, hadn't he, where he'd absolutely sort of smote it all the way along the ground to the boundary, and then there was a complete miscommunication between him and Banton, wasn't there? It was a pretty awful piece of cricket altogether, because it was a wide delivery that Banton sort of smeared to backward point, and Milan had obviously decided it was his call and set off, and Banton wasn't even looking, I don't think. The two of them sort of virtually met at the other end of the pitch, and
straight after the two sixes as well.
To quote the film, do we need to talk about mowing?
I feel sorry. I mean, I heard you, John, say on commentary, he's a man with a point to prove or something. In a way, he doesn't have to prove anything. Any player at any stage of his career has got to continually prove his worth to the team. But we sort of know what mowing can do. He is prone to the odd lapse in form, as many players are. Maybe his are more dramatic, I don't know. He did have that difficult run in the one days against Ireland, but there is no doubt that he is one of the best cricketers in any form of the game that we have in England. He's supremely talented.
I mean, in a way, he's just in a lean spell, isn't he? That's what I meant. It's just not happening for him. And how do you how best you get him out of that? I mean, he's in a situation where he's come in, he has to put the pedal down from ball one. Really, he doesn't really get much chance to look at it. No. And as Bear said, I criticised him for the shot he played, but Bear perhaps rightly said that that's the sort of shot you're almost forced to play in T20 cricket.
It's a regulation shot, isn't it? And on another day, he dabs it down and gets a single behind point.
Exactly.
On another day, he misses it or whatever, and those things can go against you when you're not in great form. You hit a beautiful cover drive, and sometimes that old cliche that one shot can get you back into form. It's only ever just round the corner. I remember when he got dropped by England. One of the times he got dropped by England, he went back to county cricket and played the T20s with Worcestershire. He captained them really well, and he just played one of the most extraordinary T20 innings you'll ever see. He was clubbing everything out of the middle of the bat, slow, fast bowlers, whatever. And he scored like 80 off 30 odd balls or something. It was just ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing about it. That's what I meant at the beginning of the game, where it's a certain amount of get off the luck. You've got to swing from the start, and if you get lucky, when you're swinging from the start, the chances are not everything's going to come out the screws, and you're going to slice something somewhere. And the question is, does it go in the air to a fielder or miss the fielder, or things like that. But these guys are top quality pros, so once they get their eye in, so you get over that little sticky patch, first 6, 7, 8 balls, you get enough runs off it, swinging the bat as you have to in T20s, then you're off and running. Then who knows what happens. But
and what about from sort of Pakistan's point of view? If you're a Pakistan fan, what can you take out of what we've seen so far in the game? What were you pleased to see? What you're not pleased to see? Anyone got anything to offer on that?
Well, I think they've bowled okay. I mean, the fielding's not been great. Obviously, a drop catch in the slips, but some of these guys haven't played cricket for God knows how long. They've been sitting around in Southampton just knocking it around in the back part, which is probably, even though it's supposed to be preparation, is never quite like the real thing. The outfield's a bit slippy. They're not too bad. They've dragged it back massively. I mean, Bantam's the only guy who's really scored any runs, and therefore, actually, they've kept England pretty quiet apart from him. And if they can keep England to 150, and that gets with the rain still belting down, that's it. England's innings done. I don't know what Douglas Lewis score would be, or DLS score.
Yeah.
Well, if they get back out, you would think Pakistan are strong favourites, really.
I'm not sure, John. I'm not sure. I think we called it early on that it didn't look that easy to score from moment one. We maybe prove wrong.
Depends what the calculation is, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't think so. England have got a score on the board. Let's say it's what they make it, a 16 over game at best. In which case it would be higher than 131 that Pakistan would have to score.
That might not be.
Well, either way, I don't make Pakistan strong favourites.
No, not necessarily strong favourites. It's pretty. It'll be pretty evens when they start the innings. It depends how I mean, we scored 13, 14 runs in the first 3 overs, and we've got to here. So as I said, I think T20 is going to be decided by one innings on a team.
Yeah.
And the more the overs, the more people it requires. A test match requires someone to get a ton and a couple of people to get 50s to get a decent score.
Yeah, that's right.
At what point do they wait around before they call it off?
A long time, mate.
Sorry?
I don't know what the cut-off time is. I don't know.
Well, according to my weather radar, the sort of rainy clouds clear round about 9:45.
That'll probably be too late then.
The trouble is you've got to have enough time to mop up and get 5 overs of the opposition innings in.
Precisely. So I imagine the cut-off time is about 10:30, and they'd have to be on the pitch by about 5 past 10.
Yeah.
That'd be my surmise, which gives them about 2 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It may not be as it would be in a test match. They may not have to get the outfield as dry as they would for a test match.
No, that's true. But Pakistan might complain. It might be,
Well, they won't be in the field.
That's true, actually. England might complain.
No, but they'll be trying to score runs on an outfield that's very wet and soggy.
Well, sometimes that's easier.
Skidding across the turf.
Exactly, it skids across the turf, and it's harder for the bowlers to grit the ball. That would put that massively.
Yeah,
in
the wet ball won't help England.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, it's at least as much of a negative for England as it would be for Pakistan.
Absolutely.
Can we just talk briefly about Shoaib Malik, because Here's a man who made his debut for Pakistan back in 1999, and I love it when you still have sportsmen around who made their debut in the last millennium. Absolutely love that. He's played 113 matches in this form of the game. He's been around forever. What a stalwart for Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, just for sheer longevity, you'd have to say that's an outstanding effort, wouldn't you? You don't get many of those.
It is a team that probably is kind of, youth and experience, the old cliche.
Well, absolutely.
He's been around for not that many fewer years than Shoaib. And then you've got the kids like Haider Ali, who's not in the side today, who had a pretty good PSL tournament. I think he was a teammate of Tom Banton's. Banton struggled in the PSL this year. But Haider Ali, who's I think only 19 years old, big talent. Hopefully we'll see him at some point during this series, weather permitting.
You can do the older player probably with T20 though, can't you?
Well, Chris Gale certainly extended his career, didn't he?
Yeah.
Not primarily by playing that sort of. Yeah.
Well, Dhoni's just retired. Well, how old's Dhoni? 42.
He's not stopping. He's not stopping the IPL unless he gets COVID.
I guess you just have to find somewhere to hide them in the field, don't you, a little bit?
Well, definitely. I mean, I'd like to see Wahab Riaz play one of these games. I'd love to see Wahab Riaz play. He still bowls at 90 miles an hour, according to Wazim.
Who does?
Wahab Riaz.
Wahab. Yeah, he's not playing tonight either. But again, I hope so. He's been one of that tour of 2016 that we covered. He was great in that series, wasn't he?
Yeah.
As part of that battery of bowlers, including Muhammad Amir and Sohail Khan, and that was a really good fun series. 2-2 was the test series.
Yeah, it was. It was a cracking series, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was. Misbah ul-Haq doing his press-ups when he got his century at Lords, I think.
I was there for that.
There you go, you see. Okay.
Right, well, now that we can hear each other again, we should, with this rain going on, we should go back to highlights, I think.
Yep.
We are going to carry on with the Pakistan versus England in the World Cup 2019. Pakistan got 3-4-8, I think. England at 12 for 0 so far. Jason Roy is on 8, and Johnny Bairstow is on 4. And here we go.
Can't see any batting there. We'll need to have a look at the Super Snicko edge machine, whatever it's called.
I don't recall Pakistan essaying a single sweep, and England got the sweep out in the third over. Doesn't seem like a good option to me.
Mog's with us. He says, did I hear that the Bear's not going to be with us for the rest of the tournament?
He's going to be in and out.
He's going to be in and out. Better out than in. Better in than out.
Was that? No, is that an edge there? No, I don't think so. It's nowhere near the back.
There's no spike, is there? There's just
noise, isn't there?
Yeah. So I don't think he's hit it. The question is, where did it hit him, and where is the predicted? It looks like it's going straight on to hit middle and off stump, but Hawkeye does some funny things sometimes. So let's have a look. Its pitch impact is in line, hitting middle and off stump, and that is the end of Jason Roy.
Goodbye, Roy.
It just looked out to me, and it's nice to have one's prejudices confirmed. And Roy's
chuntering away.
He's come back to have a word with the umpire. I don't know what that's about.
No, I think the umpire is ushering him away. I think he's been in a bad mood throughout the entire match so far, and he's had a poor game. Truth be told, sometimes they come along, and you've got to be able to deal with them. No good getting all
I've never seen anybody
hissy-fitty about it.
Walk off the field and then turn around to have a word with the umpire.
It may have been
especially when it was the third umpire that gave him out.
It may have been words with the player.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, well, Mohammed Amir's doubtless learned some good English swear words in some places that he's been incarcerated.
Ravi Nair says,
yeah, well, you just get some new material, mate. You're just getting boring.
So, we jingle up the new batsman.
Why not?
His voice is pitched. Hair like a pick. But Maserati has hit. So there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, I see.
That's great, Mog.
It's a new one on me.
It is, yeah. It's a special World Cup special. He's in at number 3, and this is a good opportunity to rebuild. I mean, England lost an early wicket in the first game, and Root and, in that case, Roy put on a good partnership and repaired the innings. Let's see what the two pals from Yorkshire can do this time. As we're looking at the replays of what may have gone on after that dismissal. This is short and cut by Root. Probably should have made more of that. It was short and wide outside the off stump from Shadab, but he's cut it straight to the man at point. Yes, Roy seemed to turn round and make a beeline for one of the Pakistan players. This one is tucked into the leg side by Root, out to the leg side sweeper for a single. He's off the mark, 13 for 1.
A bit of jip given, probably. And he was ready to give some jip back.
Yeah, well,
Just go.
yeah.
Is it called a beeline, by the way, because bees always fly in a straight line to the source of the pollen because they have that communication system?
I don't know.
Have you heard of the A-line skirt? Well,
Yeah.
this is a B-line. Something.
I'm not quite sure
You
that's
work your
the
way
same
through the
etymology.
Shadab bowls, and it's defended by Bairstow into the offside. No run.
There's an empire line as well.
Really?
I don't know that.
Well, if you're bothered to look that up in an etymological dictionary, please let Gary know.
There's a bit more of going on.
No, that was just a replay.
Oh, was it a replay?
Shadab bowls a fuller ball, and Bairstow nudges it towards mid-wicket. There is nobody at mid-wicket. The bowler has to do the fielding. 1 run to him.
If there's going to be any lip going on, Sarfraz is going to be involved, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's normally slagging off his own teammates rather than the opposition, and shrugging his shoulders, holding his arms wide and going, "What's going on? Why didn't you catch that or bowl that or whatever?"
I'm great, you're shit.
Yeah. Shut up. Into completely over. A little bit shorter. Root cuts this. He can't beat the man. He does beat the man at short fine leg. Out to the wide third man boundary for 4 runs. End of the third over. England are 18 for 1.
Roger Melly has a question for us. What's got me fucked with these DRS reviews of a spinner is when the ball strikes the batsman immediately after it's bounced. How the hell do you know how much it was going to spin? I don't know. I don't understand the technology.
Well, it's a good question, but they can pick up minute movements, changes in direction, and presumably that's what they're going on. If it hits them on the full, I don't know what the algorithm tells them they have to assume. Is that it's going on straight, even if
Yes, it
somebody's
does.
ripping it?
It does.
It's all algorithms, Roger. The whole world's run by them.
Yeah. Well, start of the fourth over. Mohammed Amir will be bowling to Johnny Bairstow, who waits bat aloft. This is down the leg side. It's going to be called wide by Murray Erasmus.
Didn't Algorithm, wasn't he captain of the UAE side who played in the 1979 World Cup?
Al-Khwarizmi. Get the jingle before the joke. Extras.
I can't even see
There
it.
they are. I'll pick the long one.
Nog says yes, and a brand new All World Cup all the time jingle for Mr. Root. Did you guess the voice?
It was Joe Root. As this is driven sweetly into the offside by Bairstow. Again, no foot movement, but he picks out mid-off. No run.
Thank you very much, Mog, for all your efforts, and also to Mr. Perkins, who made a very splendid
Richard Peel.
splendid jingle
Tribute.
to our very own birthday boy yesterday,
Tony Bishop, yes.
Tony Bishop. Yeah,
It was I Dig a Pony by the Beatles off, is it Abbey Road? Or Let It Be, I think it's on Let It Be.
was it a special birthday yesterday?
60, he claims. This is turned down to fine leg by Bairstow. They've taken 1. They're pretty damn quick between the stumps, Root and Bairstow, and they come back for 2. So Bairstow's up to 7, 21 for 1.
Talking of lines, Mob says don't forget the Siegfried and Maginot lines.
Yes, that's true. Some more successful than others.
Hanging out or washing on the Siegfried line.
The Germans just walked round the Maginot line. I don't know why that
sort of drove over it, you know.
in the planning. Let's just go through Belgium and walk round it. Amir bowls and Bairstow defends. Anyone from Quick Tracker?
Quick Tracker, yeah, exploded a bit with the wicket. Naomi Joyar, Bilal Khan, Rayaz Badar, all joining us, all happy. I assume they're all Pakistani fans, but you're all welcome.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
It's maybe the only place where you can listen to English language commentary of all the World Cup games between us and Guerrilla Cricket South Africa. And we're about 5 days into the tournament. It's not taking its toll at all as Mohammad Amir comes in and bowls, and Bairstow defends this between his legs. It runs out to a sort of a backward short leg position. The bowler has to run up and field it, and they take a single.
Don't think he knew where that went, did he?
No, I don't know if it beat him for pace as much as there was some slight movement. It got the inside half of the bat and went down behind him.
Slight tentativeness in the which often happens when you lose a wicket. The other opener starts thinking, "Oh, things are going on," and not quite convincing there. You see the bat wobbles in his hand a little.
When the super slow-mo cameras came in, we noticed that virtually everybody's bat wobbles of every shot.
Yeah, some more than others, but not quite the conviction that we might expect to see from Johnny Bairstow in maybe half an hour's time.
Not quite the conviction that Amir's got as he comes into bowl and ease towards cover. No run. There's some blank faces either side of me.
We've just heard it a few times over the last 10 years. It's been a long time.
What's that, the wobble?
Never mind. I think that's the end of the over, but Sky is showing us a graphic.
Start with a wide, didn't he? So I think there's another one. I'm not absolutely certain.
Andrew tweets in, according to the
yes, there's one left.
Merriam-Webster dictionary, I'll break off.
Good. Well, we're going to get the beeline etymology as Amir bowls, and again a cut doesn't quite work. This time from root, it goes down into the ground, not that close to off stump, but an inside edge, an involuntary shot. The end of the fourth over, 22 for 1.
According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, beeline was first used in 1830 on the belief that nectar-laden bee made a direct flight back to the hive.
That's what I thought.
So there you go. Dr. Leonie Hicks is with us. Today, Guerrilla Cricket is less commentary and more pick-up song. Not sure I'm listening to cricket, or sorry, I haven't a clue during my tea break.
You could do a lot worse.
Yep.
Especially the classic lineups with Humphrey Littleton as the chairman, the late Humph.
Yes.
I did go and see that once. The film with
Samantha, an impressive assistant.
Yes, she was taking down the team's points. As Shadab comes in and bowls, the one that goes straight onto Bairstow outside the off stump, he lets it through to Sarfraz.
And Woy Pond says, I said the collapse was on.
Yes, you did. But you've been saying it for every England ODI for the last 10 years, and they've won like 98% of them. As Bairstow has 8 from 13. He's naturally impatient when it comes to strike rates. This one turns past the outside edge. That's a beauty. That pitched on about a fourth stump line. Bairstow didn't play an attacking shot. He just tried to defend it, but it beat his outside edge. It just rolls it out of the side of the hand. Where did you find that?
Yeah, you see, not completely useless.
Well, we could have a Twitter poll on that. As Shadab comes in and bowls, and this time Bairstow leans right forward and defends it into the ground.
The graphic seems to show Trent Bridge as having 10 sides. If so, is it a rather irregular decagon, says Ravinay. It is an odd-shaped ground.
It's a polygon, but it's certainly irregular. This is a full ball which Shadab bowls, and Bairstow says, I've had enough of this, tonks him back over his head, dead straight, and into the sight screen for 6 runs. Let's be condescending about the English batsmen now, having been condescending earlier about the Pakistanis. That was a big hit actually, but I sometimes worry that batsmen waste energy by hitting it too far into the crowd. You know, you should just make it just clear the boundary, otherwise you're expending too much.
Well, that's quite a difficult thing to do, though.
Difficult
surely.
skill, yeah. But it's like those. They used to say that when
here we go.
batsmen hit the ball for 4 and they made the fielder chase all the way after it. You know that it was good because you made the fielder run, but you also had the batsman had to run as well. So it was often they were turning for the 3rd by the time the ball beat the boundary. We're examining the ball now, which seems to have lost. It's hit something, and a bit of the leather has come away. So they are going to need to replace that.
Perco's with us. He says, surely with beelines it's not only the etymology but also the entomology.
Oh, very good, very good.
And sea lions, of course, are marine animals, aren't they? Sea lions.
Sea lions.
You've got A lines, B lines, C lines.
Roger Melly says, I've got an idea, lads. With all the weird names that spinners use for their various balls, how about calling one of them a bollocks ball? Oh yes, that was a terrific bollocks ball. Went right through him.
Probably Warren named one of his non-new deliveries as that.
A bollocks ball? Well done, Warnie. Isn't a polygon a dead parrot? At the risk of
already had the dead
yesterday's
parrot.
Monty Python.
Well,
They
we're not
decided
playing
they
cricket.
need a new ball, so they brought out the box of used balls. Everyone seems to be happy, but it's taken about 3 minutes.
And Knuckle Pandy's replying to one of his tweets. It says, Pakistan open with spin. No surprise given to his success the other day, and that neither Hassan or Wahab are going to be good with the new ball, but they chose the wrong spinner. And he says that tweet did not age well. Oh well.
Well, it sort of did.
Have we got a ball we can play with now? Is it round and white?
Gary, tell us about breaks in cricket.
Yes. It's another opportunity, though, to say that the crowd is really disappointing. How can they not know how to price this up?
Shadab bowls a little bit shorter. Bairstow goes on the back foot, tries to find a gap in the leg side, but picks out the man at wide mid on. No run.
I mean, there are empty seats everywhere, and Trent Bridge for a test match is full. I think it's usually about £45 for a test match, maybe £35,
Which isn't bad.
The ICC who set the are the ones who set the pricing. It's nothing to do with Nottingham or the ECB.
Well, that's what they should know.
As this is a fuller ball outside the off stump, and Bairstow just puts his pad there, keeps his bat well out of the way. At the end of the 5th over, 28 for 1. Root has 5 and Bairstow 14.
Taking a bloody piss, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, if you in a theoretical situation where you overcharged, whatever that means, by 100%, and you sold 80% of the tickets, you'd still be making more money than if you had it at the so-called correct level and sold out.
But I know I'll mention it one last time. There are algorithms that do this, which is, what's behind low-cost airlines and so on. That
they claim algorithms. It's a bloke stabbing randomly at
it might be, but
donkey on a dart.
Believe me, I have flown a lot on low-cost airlines. It's amazing. They're full every time, everywhere.
Amir starts a new over. It's a short ball, and evasive action is taken by the England Test captain Joe Root, and he ends up unceremoniously on his arse. It was. I didn't see the speed of that. What did it say? 86, I think it said. It was well directed. It was about neck height, and Root pulled out of it pretty late and ended up on the floor.
Life is like a box of new balls. You never know what you're going to get, says Brian Barish.
That was a terrible film. Did you like that film?
That was right.
Yeah, I don't hate it like some people hate it.
No, I didn't hate it. It's okay.
It's almost anyway. Amir bowls, and this is inside edge by Root. Down very fine towards fine leg. Is the man going to come round to get there? He does actually. Sort of does. I think it's all right. He stopped the ball with his hand, and then I think after the ball had finished making contact with his hand, his foot touched the rope. But the third umpire may want to have another look at that. It's at least 2 runs to Root, and I think that's all he's going to get. Are they going to go upstairs? Let's waste some more time. Yeah, he touches it. and then his foot touches the
that's all right.
sponge. Yeah, that's pretty good.
The artist formerly known as Short Third Man.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah, sorry, you're right.
no, there was a bit afterwards where
It's gone.
his foot may have been in contact when he picked up the ball for the next time.
Well, they're not showing
They're
that.
not going to show that. You can't see from here. Oh dear.
Why is the ground so oddly shaped? Is it? It's not used for other sports, is it? He says.
No, it's barely used for cricket.
No, it's not. Knuckle Andy says it. Oh. We're still looking at
8
this.
replays of this. What I think is a clean stop, and then that's the bit when he picks up the ball for the second
For
time.
God's sake, what are they doing?
Is his back foot in contact with the rope? Is it over the rope? Is it?
Oh,
I think it's just
was
about okay.
Was he standing on the rope that was underneath
I think his
the
foot was up and it wasn't touching anything.
underneath the?
But 1 second, the sponge
cushion.
had been moved.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Oh dear.
I wondered if he was standing on the actual rope rather than the sponge had
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, he's getting 4 runs. God knows for what. But
You don't need algorithm.
anyway, Amir is in and bowls, and this is edged and dropped by first slip. Root has a slash outside the off stump,
It's all happening.
and he got a thick edge. It went pretty quickly between the keeper and first slip. Barber was the man who got a hand to it, but it was going pretty quickly, but it was a decent height. And Root gets a life and gets a run.
Knuckle on the tickets, there's not only pricing, many tickets haven't been posted out in time. Ticketmaster couldn't provide confirmation numbers and the stewards weren't quick enough printing people tickets on the door. This was an issue at Trent Bridge on Friday. It's an absolute shambles.
Well, he got 2 hands to it, and having done that, he probably should have held on, but it bounced out, and it could have added insult to injury because it could have hit the helmet behind the keeper, but it missed it. It would have been 5 penalty runs.
Pretty poor that though, because he sees it all the way when you.
This is a shorter ball which is lapped by Bairstow out to the deep backward square leg fielder for a single.
But by seeing it all the way, it's a left arm over bowler, a right-handed batsman, so you see the ball from the hand,
You sort of do,
pitch, the bat, and
when it
then
goes that side of the slip fielder, you're wondering for a split second whether the keeper's going to.
you are, but you're standing so wide there. It's not like an orthodox first slip. It's much more like a kind of at least 1.5 slip, maybe even second.
Amir aborts his run up. Anything England could do in terms of slow over rates, Pakistan can do better. And we've had 5 overs and 4 balls. Actually, I didn't notice what time this was.
Oh,
And he's
okay.
pulled out of this delivery for the second time in the same delivery. Oh dear, maybe he's trying to get his captain banned. He doesn't like it or something. I think the keeper could have made an attempt for that, actually. It wasn't that far away from him, and he's the bloke with gloves on. But it got to Barbar. It didn't stick.
It was going a fair lick.
It was going quickly. It was a flash hard scenario. It was a flash hard situation, as Glenn Hoddle would say, as this is played into the offside by Root. Extra cover comes round to field, but they take a single.
Tim Part asks, how many of the seats do you think are genuinely empty, i.e. not belonging to people at bars, wandering around
People
sponsor
do
and
get up.
partner tickets?
People do get up and wander around a lot. So
Not quite that many though.
Yeah.
it has to be said. Most of the ground is full.
Oh, I don't think so. If we see some long shots, there's lots of empty seats everywhere.
We're looking again at this drop. It was a ball that Root slashed at as we're back live as Amir bowls, and this is turned into the leg side. They've taken 1, they're going to think of 2. They're really quick between the wickets and they make it comfortably. At the end of the 6th over, it's 37 for 1. England are chasing 349 to beat Pakistan.
But already we've already seen some things that Pakistan did not do until quite late in the innings. We've seen England hitting 6s, we've seen them hitting 4s, we've seen them taking 2 inside the circle, we've seen them take quick singles. England have so many options batting. It doesn't mean they're going to win every match, but they really do have options.
Arthur Shear's got a theory. Maybe the ICC don't want World Cup matches sold out so they can advance more rapidly to the ultimate plan of the World Cup just being India, Australia and England playing a triangular tournament in Dubai.
There's too many teams.
You might be right.
6 overs gone. England's run rate just over 6 and over at 37 for 1, and we've got a change of bowling. The spin experiment has been discontinued, and the man with a jacket will be bowling. He's up to the wicket now, bowls, and it's defended by Root.
Status quo. She works in a charity shop. We only wanted a tank top. It's only coat to Warriors are old.
Like Amir, he's a left arm over the wicket bowler. He's pretty sharp. He gets it up there in the high 80s or more, as this is driven square by Root. And again, they've set off before you have time to think whether it's a single or not, and the man is fielding it in the circle, and it's gone straight to him, but they comfortably make a single.
Did Pikey Munich's mum actually sell a coat to
We'll never know. We will never know.
And we don't know the story behind that jingle now.
We know some of it. You need to Google the rest.
Okay.
But yes. Anyway, what is this? What are they showing us now? Some.
Mohammed Hafiz making a...
Why are they showing us Mohammed Hafiz when it's Wahab Riaz bowling to Root and Bairstow? I don't know. Anyway, Mohammed Hafiz top scored for Pakistan. He made 84, and that happened earlier as Bairstow faces up to Wahab, and he doesn't time this one at all. Leans forward and just prods it up to mid-off. No run. So just the 1 run off 3 balls so far from Wahab Riaz. Was it a game against Australia in the last World Cup? I remember a spell from Wahab where he absolutely worked over Shane Watson.
He did, yeah.
And it was just a matter of time before he got him out, and Watson picked him up, and he was dropped an absolute dolly on the square leg boundary by, was it Rahat Ali? Oh, another aborted run-up. This is just tiresome. Maybe it's the wind, maybe it's... I don't know. But there's been a lot of this nonsense, and we're not getting through the overs at any speed whatsoever. 6.3 overs gone. 38 for 1. As Bairstow gets ready to face Wahab Riaz. It's on the leg side, and the fine leg is up. So he just swivel pulls this round the corner, easy as you like, 4 runs.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
Ichni Sanshi indeed. I think that means 1, 2, 3, 4 in Japanese. Maybe you can get an etymologist onto it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you can't bowl outside the leg stump when your fine leg is up. You're asking for trouble. What do the tweeters have to say?
Well, Arthur Shear is talking to Evil Scooters about his tri-series in Dubai.
As Wahab bowls, and this is outside the off stump. Bairstow has a full body drive, gets an inside edge. It goes between the stumps and the wicketkeeper. Again down to fine leg for 4 more.
Now my enemy's going great guns.
That's right.
I hit the ball, 4 runs. I hit the ball and it got 4 runs.
This is the double-edged sword of the opening power play. You know, bowlers can beat batsmen, and it's very difficult to cut off boundaries.
So on Quick Tracker, Asif Khan's with us. Abid Ali Yusufrazi.
As this is just nudged into the offside by Bairstow square. Dot ball, end of the 7th over, 46 for 1.
Sohar Bodlar. Excuse my pronunciation of some of these. Khalil Ishaq. Shani Sungala. And a lot of them are very happy with the Pakistan innings at the moment.
As they ought to be.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll be a record run chase if England pull it off in the World Cup.
Will it? It's a record chase. Gary, you still with us?
Just about.
Are we keeping you up?
I'm suffering a little. I was at work till 11 o'clock last night, and so I'm suffering a little.
I didn't go to bed till 1.
3 overs left in the power play. It's 46 for 1 off 7 overs, just shy of 7 and over, as this is Mohamed Amir bowling to Root. Again, he doesn't time the ball even in a defensive shot.
Yeah, it was a good bit of bowler.
Kanal Solani is with you, Gary. He's taking a nap, travelling on a bus while listening to our dulcet tones.
We're the ones to send you to sleep.
Should I just shout for no apparent reason, just to wake people up? In the old days when we used to listen to radio commentary sort of through the night from Ashes series, and
suddenly
it would be on, and you say, well, what was that? Was it a wicket? As Amir comes in and bowls, and this is worked square of the on the offside by Root. That's his favourite shot, and it's out to the boundary. 4 more.
2 + 2 is on, man!
England's 50 up after 7 overs and 2 balls, and there's nothing wrong with the run rate. I don't.
Brian Barish has asked, what do we think about this being limited to 10 teams only, choking off emerging nations? Well, Brian, we'll be up buy a t-shirt from us about that soon.
Amir in again, and this is turned by Root into the leg side. They've taken 1, and they come back for 2 because it's what they do. Basically, Root and Bairstow are absolute lightning between the stumps. Marlon Samuels is leading us.
Good luck, Bear.
See you, Bear. All the best. And it's incredibly difficult to defend the 2s to these 2.
Eyes up, lads, eyes up. Yeah,
52 for 1.
The Bear there, leaving us alone. Chitan Nurala says cheers.
Cheers to you too. Hello, anyone who's watching us on the Crick Tracker or on YouTube or on Facebook Live. Hello, if you're enjoying what we do, get onto our Patreon page and slip us a few dollars, rupees, or rand, whatever it is, because we'd appreciate it. As Amir is up to the wicket, bowls, and Root doesn't time this particularly well, hits the square of the wicket on the offside, but they take a single nonetheless.
And Felix Stock is with us. Hi team.
From Germany.
Thrilling things to come from England versus Pakistan, so England going at the right pace. Well, yeah, you know.
There's nothing wrong with the pace.
Yeah.
They will have preferred not to lose a wicket, but they have lost a wicket. Jason Roy somewhat petulantly eventually leaving the wicket after being given out LBW to Shadab Khan. It took a third umpire to uphold the decision that the on-field umpire had already given. So England have lost their review as Amir bowls to Bairstow, and he just dabs this down to third man, quite fine. Single, 55 for 1.
And it took a big lump of a man to tell him to get off the field, didn't it?
Yes, Maria Erasmus is not a bloke. It's actually 54 for 1. Sorry, they put up the run before they've completed it. A bit like the old Surrey scoreboard. Who were the brothers who ran the scoreboard?
Yeah.
They judged how many runs were going to be taken before they'd set off for 1.
They would whistle up the runs on the kind of like canvas, weren't they? Or
they were sort of rotating things as Amir bowls and Bairstow defends into the offside. That's the end of the 8th over. 54 for 1. Root has 19 from 16. Bairstow 26 from 25.
You never get this anymore, but it was always good fun, wasn't it, when on the old scoreboards where somebody had to knock a nail in order to put a 7 up because he hadn't had a 700 scored before.
Well, it would be the same nail that you needed for 100 or 200, wouldn't it?
Well, now they're all kind of video, aren't they? So
yeah. Well, yeah, okay. My club still uses its little wooden scoreboard that it's used since at least the 60s.
With metal plate.
Metal plates on a little wooden board. They may have been painted a couple of times since. What is this graphic? I have no idea. Good, bad, average.
Length?
Don't know.
no, it's what that kind of bowler bowls. So left arm fast medium is good to both Johnny Bairstow and Joe Root.
Wahab bowls a short ball which is turned into the leg side by Bairstow. Is the fielder going to get round? I think he is. It's quite energetic fielding from Imam ul Haq out on the boundary, but they take 2 runs. 2 more to Bairstow.
They crunch the data and they look to see where the matchups are. So it would be right arm seam away swing or something to, I don't know, Gower, it would be full and right arm over the wicket or something. So they look to see where the matchups are so the captains can get their best options in play.
They go up for LBW, but I think that's going over the top. He went to pull it, did Bairstow, a little bit shorter, missed it, and it's taken him on the pad, but I'm pretty sure that was too high.
Oh, I am as well.
Safraz doesn't seem to show any inclination to send that for review.
The reason I know it's this data-driven thing is that Michael Vaughan was talking about it at enormous length on 5 Live and what felt a little, shall we say, not entirely in line with the BBC's charter.
And you were just thinking about that, which is why you nodded off about an hour ago.
I think that may have been it.
As this is outside the off stump, and it's driven square, high over point, and it lands about a foot inside the boundary. It's 4 runs to Bairstow. He's timed that square drive pretty damn well.
It's almost like a drive scoop.
Yeah, and the bowler, going back to his mark, rehearses that shot, which is not something you see very often. But he's probably not going to give him much more width as Wahab bowls, and that goes past the outside edge. That was a quicker ball. Well, it wasn't a quicker ball, but it was a bit more oomph in it, and it bounced a bit more than Bairstow expected.
Yeah, hit the pitch very hard.
And it's a bit of the bowler saying, "I'm still here." You know, it's not all a batsman's game, even though, as we all know, it is. 60 for 1 now off 8.4 overs. Bairstow faces up to Wahab again. Up to the wicket bowls, and this is pushed to mid-off, no run.
Felix Stock says, second time reminder that YJB doesn't review well, correct?
I don't know if Bairstow was telling him to review or telling him not to review, but that LBW looked pretty plumb where we are, but we have a decent view.
I mean, it was a full 15-second consultation, so it seems unlikely that Johnny was saying review it, and Roy saying, oh no, I don't think so. Much more likely the other way around.
Well, yeah, I think Roy's saying, I don't get out.
Well, he's not had a great day, as this is and they're going up for a caught behind, and Bairstow has gone. He just nudged this one through. It was another ball from Wahab. He pushed it. He wanged it into the wicket. Bairstow tried to cut it, got a fine nick through to the keeper, and he's gone for 32. Well, that puts Pakistan on top, I would say, at this point.
Oh, I think so. 2 wickets in the power play.
Yeah, 2 big wickets in the power play of batsmen who score very, very quickly.
Well, there was a point in the match at Bristol where there were 59 openers had scored 1,000 runs opening in ODI cricket, and the 2 fastest strike rates amongst the 50-odd openers in one-day cricket who'd had 1,000 runs were the 2 who we were watching in Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah, and we've seen that of all the teams in this World Cup, and probably all other teams as well, England were scoring at a full run and over more than anybody else in the power plays over the last couple of years. So 2 big wickets for Pakistan.
A bit like yesterday's game. I just think Pakistan will really look up for this.
Yeah, he didn't really commit. He didn't commit to the shot there, did he, Johnny Bairstow? I mean,
he never moves his feet particularly, and that's the way he plays. He was beaten a couple of times with that delivery.
Yeah,
and this time he got a nick. The new batsman is the England captain.
Old O'Connor had a farm, E-I-O and Morgan.
E-I-N Morgan!
Did we ever find out who Old O'Connor is?
No.
Okay.
Arthurshire says left arm fast medium is effective against everyone because quality left arm quicks are like the Sith. There are only ever 2 in the galaxy at any one time.
The what?
The Sith, Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Reference.
It's small boys stuff. Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars.
Pinned, says Ravi now. And the collapse continues, says Worldwide Pom.
Amir, that's the first ball of a new over to Joe Root. And again, it was a shorter ball outside the off stump, and Root, having seen Bairstow just nick off, plays an almost identical shot but misses. Yeah. So,
see, that's a bit brainless in my view.
whose fingers are those that are completely covered with bandages?
Well, a lot of them have that, haven't they?
Anyway,
just after your partner's got out, you know.
Well, yes, but
slashing away like
open
that.
inverted commas, that's the way they play, close inverted commas. As Mohammed Amir, who has none for 25, 4 overs, 1 ball, bowls to Root, and that's much more in Root's area, and he just works this into the offside. It goes straight to the man at cover, who misfields it and allows them to come through for a single. That will take a little bit of the pressure off, or unless it was a subtle ploy to bring Owen Morgan into strike. But he's taking guard, and the new Sky graphics will tell us what that guard is. We're running out of things to tell us. Oh, Hendo's popped his head round the door. What's going on? Oh, it's 9.2 overs, and I shall be leaving you shortly.
Hendopoulos.
And leaving you in some capable hands. Or failing that, Hendo. 61-4-2, and Owen Morgan is... Oh, his guard is middle stump. Thank you, Sky Sports, for letting us know that. And he'll be facing up to Mohammed Amir. Lefty to lefty, in bowls, defended to bit off, no run.
That is probably the most pointless thing to know, isn't it? Really, what the guard is.
Especially since some people take guard and then move around all over the place.
Yeah.
The guy I used to play cricket with, he did something which I don't think anybody else I've ever seen do, but taking guard's a bit like bats to me. I've never been interested, so they all sort of look the same and sound the same and everything else to me. He used to take guard on leg stump and then put his toes on the guard that he'd taken at leg stump.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Do they?
That's, in fact, there was a while where that was sort of the approved method. As Morgan faces up to Amir, who for about the 5th time aborts his run-up. If you're not doing anything at 10 o'clock this evening, you might get the closing knockings of this game. What is the... If anyone keeps statistics for the longest in terms of time World Cup game, I'd be interested to know what it is. And not the old 65 over version that they played in 1975, or 60 over, as Morgan defends this next ball from Amir. He does actually deliver this one, and he pushes it to cover, no run.
I used to just sort of go up to the crease where middle stump was, just do that and then turn around. I didn't ask anyone.
In the very old days, they had lines drawn, painted from the stumps to the edge of the crease line.
Right.
So that would save you quite a lot of time, I would have thought.
Yeah, that was when they introduced the 3rd stump, I think, just to tell the groundsman where the ball.
You would think that was...
It does seem a sensible thing to do.
Does seem, but they would probably get cut up pretty quickly as Amir bowls full ball. Morgan drives. Does he beat the man at mid-on? He doesn't. It's a dot ball. 1 ball left of the power play. 61 for 2. Anything on the Twitter sphere?
No, we've got on Crit Tracker, Mumtaz Awan says S. Quite a lot of people saying S. Malik Shah
It might mean
Awan.
something in another language.
Quazir Shahzad says Shabib Key.
Yeah, probably best not to read out the stuff we don't understand. We don't know what they're saying.
That's true.
As Morgan faces up to Amir, and he gets an inside edge, and this one goes to square leg, and somehow they still take a single even though there's a fielder there, and Amir's not happy about it. The end of 10 overs, 62 for 2, Root 20, Morgan 1.
And,
So
we're going to have a little change round.
Yeah, are you going to do some tweets, or...?
I'm up to date on tweets at the moment, as we welcome to the ball by ball throne our very own Nigel Henderson.
He's left it very warm, has not Fred. Now you should know that not only do we have a not Fred, we have a real Fred. There's a real Fred coming in later this week. It's going to be very confusing when there's a not Fred and a real Fred. But he's been in before, and
is Geordie Jack coming in?
Geordie Jack's coming in. Geordie Jack is coming in. He's coming in.
Geordie Jack.
Now, you're a betting man, aren't you, Nestlers?
Not really.
Oh, are you not?
Well, I do a little bit.
Can you have a look up and see what interesting bets they've got on Betway.com at the moment? Because if you sign up through us to betway.com, you can get some improved odds. We give you a bet every morning about that. Something got lost in translation this morning, so we didn't have one, but we will have another one tomorrow, maybe even 2.
Morgan to score 100, 4-1.
4-1.
Root to score 100, 15-8.
Well, there you go. Root, Morgan, who do you fancy?
To score 100, 15-8.
Yep.
What do you think, that's too generous?
How many has he got? He's got 20.
We'll put some money on.
Yeah. Wahab Riaz coming into bowl to Morgan. He's got a short leg in, quite a deep short leg, if that isn't a contradiction in terms. But he's going to get a single as he hurries through the ball, pushed out into the covers.
Morgan to score 50, 5-4.
5-4. That's not a great return, is it?
I'd like to see how many times Root has gone on to get 100 from the score of 20 in his ODI career.
Well, almost every time he's got 100, he will have gone on from the score of 20.
Yeah, but how many times he's gone from 20 to 100? And I doubt whether it's 8 times out of 15.
Wahab, long strides, delivers a ball back of a length, sort of nudged away down to third man by Root.
Yeah, it's a good job he's wearing long strides, otherwise his trousers would have finished about calf height.
Well, what do we think? 64 for 2 after just over 10 overs. Power play finished now. It's not a great start for England, is it?
No. I think Pakistan will be happy. Very happy.
I think they will.
Well, they'd be very happy. I think they'd be happy.
I think they'll be happy.
There's so many different nuances with happiness, aren't there?
How do you know what's very and what's happy?
Exactly.
Well, I think if England
It's different for every person.
Well, if you're happy, you're in a positive mood anyway.
Well,
aren't you?
England have got the Test captain and their ODI captain at the crease here. I think if they get one of these out in the next 5 overs, then Pakistan really will feel on top.
Wahab coming in. He's got a slip in that short leg, short square leg. This is again back of the leg, pretty quick, and Morgan just looks at it, lets it run past his body.
Maybe Sky could bring up another graphic of the happy index. Which team's happy, which team's very happy, which team's extremely happy.
How happy would you be, Nestlers?
What if I was
on the happiness index?
If I was what?
I don't know if you
Pakistan.
would. No, if you are who you are. I mean, how happy are you in general?
Oh, I'm happy.
Okay,
I'm positive.
I'm happy. Hope you're
I'm a positive person, I'd like to think.
Forward comes Morgan, testing a length and line there from Wahab. He's certainly putting it all in. 86 miles an hour. 1 for 17. Got rid of Johnny Bairstow, trying to guide it down to third man, but I also think he was a little bit surprised by the pace of it. Anyway, Root has moved on to 21 from 19, Morgan 2 from 7.
Why wouldn't I be happy? I'm sitting here next to you watching cricket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you actually get happier than that?
No.
Wahab in again. Morgan defending into the offside. They're going for a quick single. He might have to hurry. And in fact, if Wahab could have picked that up cleanly as he ran towards extra cover, he could have been in trouble. He's got a strong arm. As it was, he just didn't quite gather the ball in his fingers. That gave Morgan the time to get home comfortably.
I think we saw that he's 34 sort of in the next week or 2 or something.
End of the month, I think.
Yeah, so he looked all of those near 34 years there as he went down in installments to try and get that ball.
Went down like a wardrobe.
A bit harsh there. I thought he did quite well. He just couldn't get the ball in his hand. Wide slip, a gully really, and that's all. In he comes. Balls to Root, and Root! Wow, he swings at this outside the off stump. It goes away in the air down to third man, but with that gully there, he's got to get the height, otherwise he could be in trouble. He picks up another single. It's been a little scratchy from England. There've been a lot of inside edges, and they're not looking totally comfortable.
Josh Holland's asked, what's our opinions on Hafiz's moustache?
He's got more than a moustache. He's got a fully fledged beard.
And
I like it.
We like it.
It's very, very dark.
It is
very dark. Very, very dark.
It's quite Coley-like, actually. I think he's Coley's a bit of a resemblance to Coley.
Yeah, Coley's a much younger man now. It's for a
he is,
man
yes,
of his advanced years to have another fleck of grey looks a little suspicious to me.
You think he's been at the bottle?
You're talking about the shampoo, aren't you? Are you talking about
hair colouring?
Yeah, not talking about any other sort of
dye.
So that was the end of the 11th over. 66 for 2. England going along at 6. They need 7. Hassan Ali is going to come into the attack for the first time.
Paul Howarth, our own grubby, is with us. 15-8 equates to 8 times out of 23, Gary. Still seems skinny though.
Fair enough. Here we go.
Hassan Ali do-be-do. Hassan Ali do-be-do. Hassan Ali do.
Doobie-doo. This is laid down to third man by Ruti. Takes off quickly. He's hit it quite fine. Third man does have some ground to make up, but he won't have a chance to come back for the second. There is the remix version, which is actually a bit more entertaining than that.
That's one of those jingles that you love, but you don't quite know what it's about.
Well, it was a sort of late,
Doobie-doo got to do.
hurried jingle.
Should we have it?
Yeah.
That's more the deep soul version.
Yeah.
After this ball, you'll be able to get it out after this ball, Gary. Just hang on in there, because this is defended up to mid-on. There's no.
I was a bit worried about sounding like the late Cyril Fletcher from that slide. I'm indebted to our very own Grubby for pointing out my error there with the odds. Yes,
He thinks it's a bit skinny.
it's yeah. I think it is. You know, I think 3-1 or 4-1 would be much more reasonable.
If I was a betting man, don't think I'd go for that. I'd go for maybe 4 or 5-1. But what do I know? Hassan Ali turns. 24-year-old fast medium bowler coming in over the wicket to bowl to Morgan. Morgan chips this, a little bit aerial, but bouncing well short of the man at mid-on. And there is no run.
Roger Melly asks, so are the fuck knuckles televising this with Sky? They tell us what the batsman's guard is, but they don't tell us either the required
Required run rate.
Thank you.
God's sake, man.
Or the comparative scores.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I don't think it is Sky. I think it's the ICC production.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
And it's just on Sky, is it?
You know what the single most useful piece of information is that you get at the ground and never on television?
That's now back of a length, carved through the offside by Morgan. He'll take a single out to Imam Ul-Haq.
Where the beer tents are?
It's Duckworth Lewis Stern. When you're at the ground, they often have it displayed on the scoreboard, and it really is the best indication as to whether you're ahead or behind in the game. And I suspect Duckworth Lewis Stern, I think England are probably slightly behind.
Oh, I would say so, yes.
Is that what that DWS means on the scoreboard? I've always wondered what that was. Yeah.
DLS. Yeah. And it really does track where you are in a game. Obviously it's not going to rain today, but it's the best marker for assessing where a game is at any time.
Hassan Ali bowls flicked away towards mid-wicket. There's an easy single in it for the English pair.
And I just wonder whether some of it's because they don't want people having a narrative so clearly given to them, because we've stopped the wasps and stuff like that as well, haven't they? On the
well, as I said, the thing that annoys me more than anything is when you get replays when they don't say that they're replays.
Yeah,
at full pace. I mean, that would simplify the game for everyone. Hassan Ali into completely over. He's gone for the big hook shot. He's got a top edge. It's flown over the wicket keeper. He's got lucky. It's one bounce and it's 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that was onto him a little bit quicker than he expected, and actually it's turned what was a pretty good over into one that's merely mediocre.
Yeah. Also, I think with the Wasp, which is the winning something percentage, wasn't it? Winning and score percentage. I think it lost a bit of credibility where there were quite a few matches actually where the Wasp went down to 0%. It was below 1% for the side to win, and then they won.
Well, there's a flossing youngster in the stands, but it does mean that, well, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I can tell you that Mohammed Hafiz is coming on to bowl.
Do you ever do that, Hinder?
No, I wouldn't know how to.
Okay.
He's getting a round of applause for it. He's wearing some very silly sunglasses.
I think if you did it now, we'd give you a round of applause.
Absolutely not.
And Twitter would love it.
I'm sure.
Here we go with the bowler.
Your attention, please. Mohammed Hafiz, consolidator or aggressor, great in a one-player, utility player, and always called the professor.
Off-spin bowler, 38. We were saying 37 or 38. I think earlier he is 38. And he's going to be bowling off breaks to initially the right-handed Root, who then steps away and takes his helmet off. Has he been stung by a bee? He's taking his gloves off now. I think he's been stung by a bee.
No, he's got something in his eye.
Oh, okay. It could be a bee.
It could be a bee. Ravi Nair asks, says, Hafiz's facial hair looks like a tribute to Ravinder Jadeja.
But it's quite pointy, isn't it? It's quite pointy.
In other news, would Gary recommend I go to the Glass Menageria every Sunday week, or is Tennessee Williams way too melodramatic? I can't talk.
Melodramatic, man.
Melodramatic for these wrong times.
Your vocal muscles are...
They're gone.
They're atrophying.
I haven't seen the Glass Menagerie, but Tennessee Williams I very much enjoy. One of my favourite plays. In fact, my favourite play last year was Summer and Smoke. Tennessee Williams, and I've seen other Tennessee Williams plays. The man knew how to put one word after the other.
I'm just going for a comfort break, and I'm going to put my false teeth back.
You know what I think? I think you could get a decent T20 game in just in the gaps in this 50 over game.
Well, we haven't got the Wasp, but we've got the win predictor up, and at the moment Pakistan have got 55% to England's 45%. Now the thing that is in Joe Root's eye, you would imagine must be enormous, because it's almost as if they brought an operating table on to deal with that, and we're going to have another of those long delays. Which, tell me about it, Gary. Is cricket always shooting itself in the foot?
I just find it literally incredible how often 22 cricketers fail to be playing cricket.
It is quite astonishing.
It's just extraordinary. You're going to say, oh well, it can go in his eye and everything else, but what you do, as in almost any other sport, is you get them off because you bring a substitute on. If this is work that needs to be done, and it should be in the amount that's going on here, maybe it should be in a rather better environment than one with pollen flying around all over the place, should go inside and get on with it and give Roots sort of 5 minutes to recover from it as well. I just find it incredible how everybody just sort of sucks on a thoughtful tooth and allows all this to just go on.
Yep, well, he's now having a drink. I mean, the obvious thing you need after you've had something in your eye is a drink.
They have a drink
He's
all the time.
Having a chat with Owen Morgan, having a laugh. Are we waiting for it to settle down, or what? There's still a bit of irritation there, because I'd imagine he must be ready to bat again.
I'm not sure what time we started. Maybe somebody would be able to tweet. And I don't know what the record is for the longest 50 over match or World Cup match. We might not be far off, but I can't believe there's been many uninterrupted sort of first 20 overs of a match that have taken longer than this, because I don't think we're far off an hour. We had 12 overs, maybe we're more than an hour into the game.
Yeah, well, we're only 12 overs gone, aren't we? 73 for 2. The target is 349. If you're just joining us for the first time on Guerrilla Cricket today, where have you been? A reminder, of course, that you can help support Guerrilla Cricket by donating to patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. Here comes Hafiz. He's ready! Finally, goes back. Plays the ball from in front of his pad straight. Back up the pitch to the bowler. And there is no run. Root has 24 from 23. I think Root is pretty important now to this run chase. He's got to keep nurdling away at one end, keep it going. It's his flatter, and he goes pivots and pulls, and there's that short boundary. It's gone past the man at square leg. The man at long leg won't get round, and that's a gift really from Hafiz. 4 runs.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Indeed so. That is an incredibly short boundary.
To count.
Anyway, Nestle Boy has got whatever it was that was in his eye out.
What did I miss? Anything?
And we're ready to go. Hafiz in, bowls to Root. Root is forward, leaning across his front pad and then working it past mid-wicket for a single.
What did I miss?
Wahab Riaz does the fielding from deep mid-wicket. And the score moves to 78 for 2. So
I'm singing, or not really singing, I'm alluding to Thomas Jefferson's introductory song from Hamilton, where he comes back from being the ambassador to France and says, what did I miss?
Okay, I've not seen it myself. No. Morgan is now down to face, and Hafiz will go around the wicket trying to take the ball away from the left-hander. And here he is, just a couple of steps up, then a little jump. Morgan goes back, plays it to mid-wicket. There is no run.
Brian Barish says perhaps they should add in pace of play rules like Major League Baseball. You have to bowl in a certain amount of time and you get penalised.
Well, there has been talk about that, hasn't there, I think? when the MCC committee met last, cricket committee I think that is. This is stroked down through mid-off to the man coming in off the fence for a single. What are you pointing at, Gary?
The Batman scoreboard.
I know what you mean by the Batman scoreboard.
We got a long shot, not very many.
I knew immediately what you meant. Others didn't. 79 for 2, 6 runs already off this over from Happy's. England needs 7 and over really, and he's in again to Root, and Root turns this again off leg stump. He might get back for a second here. Let's have a look. No, Wahab has got a very good arm, and they settle for the single. 80 for 2, 13 gone. And he tweets.
Luke says neighbouring Ireland and Scotland would have benefited from a World Cup, probably as close to home as they will see it. This World Cup is lost when it makes it interesting by excluding the nations trying to build the game. Well, Luke, we will have a T-shirt about that very topic available very soon on our store if you'd like to support how we feel about it, which is yes, we agree with you.
Why do people... And I understand that, and I see the case, but it's very often the same people who are up in arms about a 48-team World Cup in football, which I support.
Hassan Ali into Root. Root pushes up to mid-on.
I don't know if Luke is up in arms about that.
No, but plenty are, and I think there is probably an overlap between people who want more teams at the Cricket World Cup, fewer teams that are planned at the FIFA World Cup.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, how many teams do you have in a FIFA World Cup out of the number of football teams you have in the world, or footballing countries in the world? There are fewer cricketing countries in the world. Hassan Ali in again. Root drives a little bit on the up square. They're going to come through for the single. No, the throw comes in, hits the wickets at the non-striker's end, but Morgan was comfortably back.
Well, my optimum numbers would be 12 and 48, but I guess some
48
people
for the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what the proposal is.
I think that's too many. I just think it's too many. Well, I mean, if you've got 2 years in which to, you've got more than 2 years in which to play qualifiers, there's a lot of football to play. If you have 48 teams, it makes it a very long tournament, I would have thought. Unless you're going to play 3 or 4 games on the same day.
And the qualifiers are part of the World Cup.
Outside the off stump, cut strongly by Root, backward of square, running down to the third man boundary, 4 runs.
There are technically more than 48 teams in the World Cup. It's just the finals.
World Cup finals. That's what
I know that's what you're referring to, but I think 48 is a lot to get a handle on. To be honest, you're not going to be able to see all of those, are you? Really? Because you're going to have to, double up on games, really.
Roger Melly says, speaking of facial hair, at least none of these blokes have stupid fucking looking 70s porn star moustaches like some of the Aussies. Not that I ever watch porn, of course.
Of course not, especially not vintage porn. Onto the back foot goes Root, dabs this down towards backward point. There is no run.
I did write a proposal at the Guardian where if you have groups of 3, then you don't need to have any more matches, or I think there's 1 more match to have groups of 3.
And how many go through? 2 or 1?
48, that's 16, so you go straight to round of 16, round of 8, as we have now.
Hassan Ali in again, full this time, clipped but straight to mid-wicket.
I mean, there are some difficulties that need ironing out, and some...
Well, good evening, peeps. I'm afraid to say, bloody English weather has once again got the best of us, and match has been abandoned. England batting for 16.1 overs, 131 for 6. Good innings by Banton, who got dropped by Iftikhar very early on when he was on about 2. Ended up getting 71. David Mann got 23, run himself out. Morgan 14. Was LBW absolute plum. Mohamed Ali 8 off 7. Billings was 3 not out. Gregory was 2 stumped, going down a wicket to Imad Wasim, and Johnny Bairstow, was caught and bowled Imad Wasim right at the beginning of the game too. 131 for 6 for England. Imad Wasim 4 overs, 2 for 31, no maiden. Shaheen Afridi only bowled 2 overs. Presumably he's come back at the end. None for 10 off 2. Mohammed Amir 2.1 overs, none for 14. Harris Ralph 3 overs, none for 32. Shadab Khan 4 overs, 2 for 33, and Iftikhar Ahmed 1 over, 1 for 7. It was a shame really, but the weather report was always saying that, and we always kind of knew it might well be that way, and so it turned out. We're going to be back on Sunday. The second one is 2:30 in the afternoon British time. It's a daytime T20 as it's a Sunday. hope you can join us then. It's been nice to have you along with us. I'm sorry we can't give you a better game, but hopefully on Sunday. Let's hope the weather changes. Until then, goodbye.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take charge, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Oh